Hey, what's up, Facebook Live? Lindsay here with Find Your Freedom Coaching. Today I wanted to come on because I had, within just like a 24-hour period, I had a couple of clients who have sent me some awesome results. And it kind of got, a lot of these conversations are typically had about progress. And when I was checking in with some clients about progress, it's interesting to kind of hear what they think about their own progress, as far as, maybe not seeing results quick enough or being shocked in a positive way too. So I hope that I can get some people on live today. It is, what is it, like 3 something here Eastern. But anyway, I got two messages in the past day or so with some clients' feedback. One of which said that they lost 13 pounds in 22 days, which is like a huge amount for that person. It was actually so it's somebody who doesn't have too much weight to lose. So, hey Connie, I was just talking about you. So 13 pounds in 22 days is like a lot of weight for somebody who doesn't have a lot to lose, right? And then on the other hand, I have somebody who has lost 24 pounds in 3 months, which sometimes you're like, wow, 13 to 24 in like triple the time, why does it seem like it's tougher to sustain that level of weight loss? And if you think about it, 24 pounds in 3 months is actually really good. Like, it's really good if you think about it. It's like 1 to 2 pounds per week. And then on the other hand, I have somebody who's only lost single digits of weight, right? Of just weight over a longer period. So I wanted to come on today and just talk about the 8 ways to measure your progress, really without the scale, because the scale only tells us so much. So I hope that this inspires people to start measuring their progress in different ways and not looking at the scale as often. So the first thing is just taking measurements. What I like to do typically is have my clients measure their chest, their waist, their hips, their biceps, their calves, and kind of take a look at that from when they start and like as they progress, maybe every 2 weeks to every month. Look at those measurements because that can tell a lot of the story versus the number on the scale. Number 2 is photographs. So this is important because when I'm doing this is important for me, especially when I'm doing my own, when I'm going to look at my own results, I rely a lot on photographs. And the reason being is because I know I'm not going to see a weight loss. I'm not looking for weight loss. So I want to see the, how those pictures look. So the advice that I typically give to people is when they're doing photographs, if you're doing them specifically for the purpose of looking at progress, hey Betsy, I want to look at them as, exactly side by side. So that means like you're in the same exact room, you're in the same exact lighting. So if you're in a room where you're getting natural light, you better make sure it's like the same time of day, right? And in the same outfit. So that'll give you your best progress results, like that viewpoint of like seeing it exactly from before and after. I know that that's not always that's not always what's possible to do, but if you really want to see that before and after. The third way that I think measuring progress without without looking at the scale is, of course, looking at the body fat percentage. And there's a couple ways of doing that. So you can do those like electronic monitors that give you sort of an instant reading. A lot of us, like at gyms, I know we use them at our quarterly events. We have people who come and do that sort of like a biometrical type of scan where they can just hold on to it. Now again, a lot of the different ways that you measure body fat, they're not 100% accurate, but you can kind of get an idea for progress purposes, because where you start and maybe a month later, you can at least know where that difference is. So you have the electronic monitors. You have a skin fold test. I should have grabbed mine out. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Lindsay. I'm so glad people are joining today. I think this is a cool subject for a lot of people because we all get so stuck on looking at the scale. So the skin fold test is another one, sort of outdated, because a lot of us carry our body fat in different areas. So again, the skin fold test can be helpful if you're really looking at like one area versus a different area, and you are only looking at the before and after for that same area. The bod pod. So I know that a couple facilities have those bod pods where you just go and sit inside of this machine. They can be a little bit pricier. I think it's like $100 or so, but you can get a better reading of, your exact body fat percentage by doing that. And if you remember way back in the day, they used to do like the old version of the bod pod used to be a water displacement test where you get like dunked in, like it was like a big bath, and you kind of sit yourself inside of this bath, and that was how they would read your body fat percentage. So those are different ways to kind of follow that. But again, whatever you because of some inaccuracies with some of those ways of testing the body fat percentage, you could again just start off with your before and compare it to the after, rather than focusing on like, oh, well, this before might be inaccurate. It could be off by a couple percentage points, which is a big deal when you're looking at body fat percentage. The other thing that's sort of related to body fat percentage, and this is number 4, it would be your lean body mass. So in some of these tests, they'll actually break it down and tell you the difference between your lean body mass, or they'll look at your weight in fat versus your weight in muscle. So like, let's say, so I'm 150 pounds, just to make it easier, I'm going to say it's 50%. If I had 50% fat, I would be like my weight minus some water. So like it always takes that away. So you'll look at what your number and weight is, like how many pounds of body fat are you walking around with, and how many pounds of muscle. So let's say it was like 60 and 60, just to make it easy. And the rest would be water, right? So if you're looking at that, you can actually look at your progress based solely on that lean body mass. And maybe you just want to look at like how much muscle you now carry around from before versus now. Number 5 is a big one for a lot of people because this is like really exciting for most people when this happens. It's your clothing size and how you fit into your clothes. So one of the first things that most people tell me is like, this happens typically within the first week or so, is they're like, oh, my pants are fitting better. You don't have that like uncomfortable feeling walking around all day with like the top of your pants like feeling like they're like closing in your insides. Number 6 is, and I don't want to make this, it's like not in a negative way, but actually in a positive way, is like other people's opinions of you. So sometimes when we're going through, especially weight loss, that's like, we look at it as a marathon and not a sprint. And when we're going through something where we're only losing a pound or 2 a week, we're not noticing it as much. And then what happens is we start to kind of like see people maybe we haven't seen in a few weeks, but it's noticeable to them. And that's exciting when somebody like tells you like, oh wow, I can tell you're like something's different with you. What have you been doing? Or, you know, you've changed, you know, you look smaller, you look more fit. I remember a friend of mine when she first had 35 pounds of weight loss, and throughout it, you know, before it became a 35-pound weight loss, when it was just like a few pounds, people had noticed first in her neck. And it wasn't the fact of just, how should I say this, like her neck becoming smaller. It was like you could actually see like veins and different things in your neck. And in fact, the person said to her, I can tell you're getting fit. You must be working out. Had nothing to do with weight loss, but he actually specifically said, like, I can tell you're getting fit. So like people who are into fitness can tell like certain ways, like somebody who's fit versus somebody who's not. The other thing that I think is probably one of the most important, this is number 7 on my list, is how you look in the mirror. Yep. Dana just said confidence shows everything too. Yep. So this is how you look in the mirror. So sometimes you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I feel good today. Like I'm looking good. I wake up and you just feel good. Or you go to put on your pants and you're like, they fit. I feel really good. And that kind of like follows you on for the rest of the day, right? Like you're starting out with a great day. And that can just, you know, that just sort of like attracts more great things you're coming your way that day. Hey, Sam. Hey, Connie. I can't tell what thought that was for. So how you look in the mirror sometimes, when you start to notice that, it's a huge deal. And for a lot of people, that typically, from at least what I notice with my clients, is that takes a few weeks to start, like when they finally notice it themselves. And they're like, oh, wow, I'm starting to see these differences. I'm starting to see things that I never imagined. The final thing that I wanted to mention, and I know for a lot of people, so this has more to do when you're obviously including fitness into your routine. And it's not just about like losing weight by like dieting down in some way, but it's more about being healthy and fit, is performance. And for a lot of people, that can mean a lot of things. And this is something that it was based on a conversation that I had with Dana last night. And Dana was a client who said to me she was a person who lost 24 pounds in 3 months, which is amazing. Again, that's like right on track for that 1 to 2 pounds per week. And she was like, actually, up until last night, she thought she was only down 15 pounds. So we were talking about other ways that she's seen results. And it was really all about performance-based, because she was like, you know what I noticed? I can now get up off of the ground, like get down and get up without having to like hold on to something. And that was a big deal for her. So for some people, and we were just talking about an instance where when people fall, and this is really sad because there are people who like don't have the mobility to pick themselves up off of the floor. So if they fall, they literally don't have the ability to get back up, right? And that's tough. That's really tough. So it's a big deal for people when now they're like, oh, I have all this independence now. Like I can get up and I can get down onto the floor and off the floor whenever I need to, right? Or walking up steps, you know, how walking up steps can be a lot easier than where you were 2 months ago. And not to mention all the other fitness related things that you can do that you might not have been able to do before, like push-ups and planks and squats and all these other things. The other thing that's like I would consider performance-based too is like just feeling more energetic, like, because if your body needs to perform to just do the daily like necessities in life, like you have to have some energy for that. And for a lot of people, having more energy is a performance enhancer, right? Like you can now get on with your day, and that's something that's like a huge deal for a lot of people. So I hope that you found these, these 8 ways to measure your progress without the scale as being a little bit more helpful to you. And I hope it inspires you to actually start measuring these and choosing a few of these and following through with those rather than looking at that scale each and every week. Yes, the scale can tell you a little bit, but there's so much more to your results than just the number on the scale. Thank you guys. I can't wait to get some feedback on this one and hear your thoughts. If you're viewing this at a later time, send me some of the stories that you like, some of the results that you found that you were shocked at that without looking at the scale. Like, I want to hear from you guys because I'm sure I missed a few examples of some of the important ones. All right. Have a great day, guys. See you later.